Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because I don't know how it works. It might be too cumbersome to do the. I don't know how to do that
Okay.
accurately, but all right. So, are you rolling?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. It's Charlie Foster from Driven Together, and I can't think of a better way to kick off the new show called Driven Together, hosted by yours truly, Charlie Foster, by doing an interview with a young man that I think is on the precipice of being an incredible leader in this industry that we're in. And his name's Ray Council. And I want to talk to him today about things that we don't normally talk about when we're talking about our industry or talking about how we sell cars and things like that. So I want to dig in with a guy that's been doing it for less than
6 years.
6 years. And we're going to find out what drives him, what his future holds for him, and a few little funny things too, I think. So let's get started. And Ray, welcome to Driven Together. I'm glad that you're here today, and I'm interested in hearing a little bit about Ray. Now, I know Ray because I work with him every day, but I want you to reach out to the folks out there in the rest of the world that may be thinking about buying a car, maybe somebody thinking about getting into the industry, and we're going to talk to Ray about that today. So let's get ready and hold on. Here we go. Ray, can you tell us about how you got into the car business?
We chuckle every time that question comes up because it's pretty fascinating. It's probably 8 years ago now. I was working at Kohl's, and I was 19 years old.
Yep.
And two guys came in the store one day, and they were dressed up real nice, button downs on and slacks. And I just said to myself that I was going to sell them a credit card. And Lord behold, these guys come to my register, and I'm talking to them, and next thing you know, I signed them up for a credit card. So it was kind of ironic. He told me no, so I had to close them. I didn't know that back then,
right?
But I had to show him a visual on why he should save $45 to get 30% off. So as we're kind of small talking, God kind of kicked in, and he just randomly told me to tell these random folks that people said I should be in the car business. So, or real estate. I said both. And it was pretty random. I honestly don't know why I said it. And then he asked how old I was,
right?
Name and whatnot. And I was 19. And he gave me his business card, and he wrote his name and number on the back, and he just said, "Come see me when you turn 21." So I look at the front and look at the back. It was John Sinclair and Charlie Foster. Ironically, there.
Right.
So that was pretty fascinating. Well, that was, again, back in 2015.
Yep.
So fast forward, it was, let's see, around August of 2017, I kind of got a knack to, I just needed some more money. Life was just hitting me.
Right.
And I just needed a better avenue. And so I started kind of thinking outside the box on how I could get more money. Money was really low, my savings were going low. And I started just wanting to go to a car dealership. So fun thing about shopping, for certain jobs is if they're not really hiring, they're gonna give you a stack of freaking papers like this to fill out.
Right.
And I was so desperate, I did it. It was like 33 pages.
Oh man, 33.
Yeah, it was literally like this thing.
Wow.
So that was kind of nuts, and I did it. The sales manager was always on lunch. I went at 3 different times of the day, and the sales manager was always on lunch. This is by the way, not at this dealership.
Not here.
Random dealership in town. And so, as I was leaving, devastated in my suit,
You had a
Literally.
suit on?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I had a flash of the time at John Sinclair, or I was at the register and I met John Sinclair and Charlie Foster.
Yep.
So next thing you know, my heart was thumping, and I just drove straight over to Nissan.
Yeah.
And I had actually, a little side note, I had damaged my car. So I parked on the opposite side of the whole parking lot and backed in just because I did not want people to see my damaged car at a car dealership.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
So park all the way over, walk in, and I come in and ask for the owner. So Lord behold, John Sinclair is actually here that day.
Oh, wow.
So he comes down and I said, hey, do you remember me? He said, I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
That's one of his favorite lines. I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. I don't know how that happened.
I was like, wow, he really must have forgot me, but I know I left an impact. It was
Right.
like I was the guy from Kohl's.
Yeah.
He said, I'll be right back. And so he left, came back, and he was like, come back in 2 weeks. Charlie Foster was out, and he had to work some kinks out.
Yeah.
So kind of waited a little minute, and next thing you know, I come back. Well, Charlie had just got back from vacation. So we needed
Vacation?
Well,
I need a vacation.
he went to go see Grant Cardone. you
Oh,
know, so
yeah.
that's the real deal. He's the OG.
That's right.
So, but anyway, a couple days went by, and I'm desperately needing a job at this point.
Yep.
And I was working at Golden Corral at the time, and next thing you know, a lady comes in at my at one of my tables, and she recognized me. She asked if I recognized her.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
And I was like, I thought it was another lady that was trying to sell me this pyramid scheme in the back.
And you're trying to back away.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got to get away from here.
Yeah, I was just saying yes just to be the yes guy. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I recognize you. And she was like, Mr. Sinclair's been looking for you.
Oh.
I was like, what? She was like, yeah, he's been looking for you. He lost your information. Fishing. What's up, man? So, anyway, she contacts John, and I continue. Which, by the way, I only had 2 tables that whole day. I worked 9:30 to 3. It was 1 o'clock. I've had 2 tables, her and another table. So
That right there was inspiring you to get out of the restaurant business.
man, I was working at that point 3 days a week, probably 7 hours a day. Making $3 an hour in tips.
Wow.
To live.
Wow. And I don't know that, and not without getting all into the deep water of this situation. I think about how many folks are in that same position. But after today, after talking to Ray, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to decide to maybe make a career move after watching this, because we're going to move on to some things. Ray that's an interesting story, and there's a lot more to it too. Ray gave us the Reader's Digest version of it. But the thing of it is, the point that I wanted to make was, here's a young man that was trying to dig his way out of debt so he could make a living and pay his rent. And then, as so many of us came into this business from another industry or another talent. Me specifically, when I got into the car business, I was a machinist, and I was a journeyman, and I had a skill. So it wasn't like I was dying for a job, but I accidentally got into the car business because I drove my dad to pick up a new Thunderbird. And
Really?
as I was sitting there waiting for him to do his business, the owner's wife talked to me, and then a couple of days later offered me a job in sales.
No.
So that's the weird part of it right there. So some of us were not looking for it, but some of us were. And that's what I wanted to, my point was with Ray. He endeavored to make something happen. Now, Ray, I want to move on because now that you're in this business, you've been utilizing social media, as in Facebook, Instagram, and maybe Snapchat. And what I want you to do, if you can, put it in as simple terms as possible. You did a great job with telling us how you got into the car business. So now I think everybody's ready to hear what you do with your social media platforms. If you could go into that, please.
Most definitely. So social media can be your best friend and it can be your enemy at the same time, because people say that I make a lot of posts, but one thing that makes me pretty dynamic is I'm very interactive with my clients, which I consider friends.
Yeah.
And not just posting, hey, these guys just bought a new car for me. These guys are repeat buyers. You gotta, the general term, kiss the babies and everything, but it's gotta be personal,
Right.
So I like to comment. I like to, like that, someone's son just got, first place, in their youth league basketball tournament.
Okay.
Those things excite me. Being part of the community, all those things kind of tie in with social media. You just can't be stagnant. People, the sales professional industry is usually frowned upon,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that has a lot to do with people wanting to embrace the job.
Okay.
And so I think I just took a fortunate turn with being where I was at in my life, to where I embraced being in a new life, and that kind of helped catapult me to wanting to always be on social media, wanting to share kind of the story.
Okay.
Letting everybody know that salespeople are more than just selling cars.
That's right. And I love the way that you described that, because I've been doing this for 30 years, and you've been doing it for
5 years and about 9 months.
Okay, almost 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm watching you do a live on your Facebook, I know that there may not be hundreds of people watching it at that moment, but that live will stay up on your platform. Is that correct?
That is correct. Now I got to say something about that. And a lot of people get scared to get on live because you want to think of how other people are thinking. So, for example, you get on live and there's 2 people watching, and you beat yourself to death. Everybody feels that way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm sitting there and no one's on there. There's not even a number up there. Everyone knows if you've been on live and there's not a number,
yeah.
there's no one watching.
Right.
And you still got to plow on, because a lot of times people don't look at those lives until 6 p.m. when they're scrolling through Facebook after work.
Right.
And honestly, if you've got 30, 40 people watching your live at 3 p.m., you probably got the wrong people watching your live.
That's it. That's it.
And because you got to have a nice quality of people that's going to see the content.
So I think that's a great lesson right there, because I do TikTok live, and when I'm looking at how many people are watching the live, yes, you just struck a nerve with me, because I'm looking at there and I'm broadcasting out, but nobody's watching.
Right.
And TikTok doesn't load the live up, but I can view it later. But you cannot put the live up for other people to watch.
Now, whenever you have no people watching, that's usually still 2,000 people on your TikTok. But
I don't know about. I wish, man. But let's talk about. Can we talk about Snapchat for a second?
Oh yes. So Snapchat, I like to do something exclusive on Snapchat, because those are usually you usually have some people. There's people on Snapchat that are on your Facebook, but there's people that are on your Facebook that aren't on your Snapchat.
Right.
So usually the people on Snapchat, you've got to present it a little bit different. So they kind of get to see the real Ray personality side. The bloopers, they kind of get the bloopers.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then they'll get an exclusive where, screenshot this today randomly, and you'll get X amount of dollars off on a vehicle because it's only 24 hours. So on a story on Snapchat.
And then it goes away.
Yeah. So if you're not putting something that's valuable within that 24-hour time frame, you're wasting it.
Yeah.
So if that's what the motive is of the story for that time.
Okay.
If I'm wanting to reach somebody, or wanting to make sure somebody sees a unicorn, which it's not a real animal.
Thanks. A real unicorn.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
It's like a 2017 with like 2,000 miles.
Wow.
You know.
And we've seen those. And Ray's taken advantage of that unicorn by putting it on his Snapchat, Facebook. Now, what about Instagram? Can you tell me anything is Instagram something that you utilize?
I do, but for mine, you've got to figure out where your people go.
Okay.
So for my clientele, I've noticed over the 5-6 years, they're not really big on Instagram, but I still like keeping the consistency on there because young people. I'm still young too, you know, and there's still a lot of young people out there, and young people are that's going to be the new way of buying cars at some point.
Right.
All the young people that are buying, and so the fact that they see my relevancy is really the whole point. And I'm fortunate that Facebook and Snap and Instagram are linked in now. So when I post on Facebook, it automatically goes to my Instagram.
It automatically goes to Instagram,
which actually saves me so much time.
Right.
You know.
Well, now, are you that well into it to where you schedule posts?
Yes and no. If it's vehicle related, yes.
Okay.
If it's like I just sold a vehicle, I don't always do that because I like to make the post so personable.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually I get a spark and I start jotting down, but I always wait 24 to 48 hours after the purchase date to post to give everyone their chance to brag to their close ones that they just bought a new vehicle.
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, and I want to talk about John Sinclair Nissan's, I call it the new way of selling cars. And basically, most traditional dealerships are on a commission-based sales crew. And what we've been doing here at John Sinclair Nissan, we've switched to a non-commission sales crew where you're paid a salary plus a volume bonus. And I'd really like to hear what you have to say about, because when you first came here, were we on commission based or was it already switched to non-commission?
So it was kind of a hybrid.
Okay. Well, I'd like for you to talk about and you don't have to discuss the numbers, but basically the way that our system works with a non-commission pay.
So non-commission pay, by the way, is the ideal setup if you're wanting to be relationship based, which is ultimately the goal if you're wanting to be in sales. If you want to keep taking ups and making new friends, as I would call it, 30 years down the road, you're not going to be happy and live the life you want if you're starting out young, especially.
Right.
And so one thing I would say that is can you ask me that again so I can get a better grasp?
here's the way that I
pretty
would
much
say
how
it.
commission is, like how it is now versus people that may not be on commission.
Well, I'm looking at it from the way that I'm looking at it is like this. When we sell a customer a car, and we don't have to, as a salesperson, go back and forth.
Oh my God! Okay.
Doing the negotiation process. So
Yeah.
does that help?
Yes. So it's pretty unique. We literally have a software that I can pull up your vehicle, our lot vehicle by VIN number, and it will tell us exactly how we're ranked in whatever radius we want. Now, somebody that you come to, and we could have been friends for 10 years, you could be my sister, and you're coming in, and I'm looking at this markup, and I'm on commission.
Right.
And
that's how you make your money if you're on commission, is the markup.
that's how you make your money, the profit of the dealership, and that's how you're able to feed your kids, and that's how you're able to eat the next day. And so you're stuck with a big decision on helping out that family or helping out your family sometimes on how much you can discount it. Now fast forward, you shop around,
Mm-hmm.
you come to John Sinclair Nissan.
Okay.
We don't, and I say this with the utmost respect, we don't care if you buy it today, tomorrow, in 3 years, you're getting all the information you asked for.
Right.
and more, because I say and more because a lot of times as sales professionals, people get locked in on only providing the information that the client requested. But sales professionals with information overload.
That's the word that I love right there. I don't know how you said that because I was thinking it at the exact moment, and then you said it. So this man's spitting facts right here, as they say in the hip hop world.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And like whenever you're given information overload, you're able to zone out everything else, take in and soak in everything that the client is saying, and giving your professional take on it, and putting them in the best position to win.
Yes.
And that takes a lot of trust built out of the client for them to receive that information from you.
Right.
But it also takes a moment of earned trust. You've got to earn your trust. I'm not going to sit here and I can't just be sarcastic with you if I just met you 2 minutes ago.
Right.
I've got to earn you just got to earn it.
It's a simple way of saying you've got to earn rapport with your customer. And, here's the thing. When we're working with a customer now, the way I feel, and this is the way I've done my sales process for many, many years, I've been blessed with empathy. And Ray has been blessed with empathy. And am I right, Ray? Is that the best way to say it?
You're right.
And tell me a little bit about how, when you're working with a customer, give us a couple of examples of how you might be different than most salespeople. And I don't care if you're talking about the sales process or after the sales process.
Gosh, there's so many examples I can give. But one is I always tell my clients I'm open 24/6 because that's one thing about the car business. You're really not off 24 hours a day. You don't clock out. And so there's been instances to where I've had to either pay for somebody's tow bill where it was late night and service was not available to get the vehicle here in time. And most importantly, I get questions that are not car related.
Expound on that.
I would get somebody that is, I've had someone that's needed to sell their home.
Oh, okay.
I've had people that have just I've had young people that's asked me for life advice.
Yep.
And people think this is crazy. Consumers think this is crazy. I get people, as far as with my job, they ask me what car to buy, which vehicle to buy. They're trusting me to buy the car for them, essentially, and they're making the payment.
Well, simply, there's a big amount of people that are getting into the car buying advocacy, and I'm going to talk about that in a future episode. But what I want to say is, we operate as advocates in-house, and you can honestly say that when the customer says, "What's your bottom line price? What's your out the door price?" Every salesperson in this dealership has been empowered to do what the manager typically does.
Right. It's kind of unique, they'll always say, "All right, now go get your manager. I need your best price."
Yep.
And I'm like, why would I not advertise my best price when everyone's shopping online?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're watching us online. Everything's online.
Yeah. And so with that said, Ray, I want to just talk just very briefly because I know we're running out of time, but in high school, can you tell us about a little bit about your football career, if you don't mind?
I don't mind.
And if I may say, I wrote this question because the reason that I wanted to ask about football, and I'm not an expert in football, but I've read 3 biographies on Vince Lombardi.
He's told me quotes about Vince that I ain't heard.
But what I want to say is, since when you played football, does that have anything to do with how many people you know now? Does people remember you as a football player?
It correlates 100%. First, I want to thank my parents for making me a military kid, because my coaches were ex-military men. And a lot of people didn't really understand sometimes their way of showing you how to do things or their constructive criticism. But I had a great take. I was able to have a good take on that because of my also military background.
Okay.
And so being able to, them emphasizing on teamwork. We'll run the same play 20 times, back to back to back, and we'll perfect it after the second time.
Wow.
We will still do it again.
So can you correlate that with their training that you did here when you showed up to the dealership?
So, which when we have like scripts and I say this for the people watching, these aren't things to try to like screw you over anything. These aren't tricks. These are just things to help us simplify the best way to help you.
Yeah.
And so we have experts that have dialed in on a greeting to where it's pretty much bulletproof. You obviously have to insert your own lingo in between.
Yep.
But when we're welcoming somebody to John Sinclair Nissan, we perfected that 200,000 tracks ago.
Exactly. We videoed ourselves doing it.
Literally.
And this greeting, basically, when the customer comes in that's never been here and you say, welcome to John Sinclair Nissan, what can I give you information on? So it's not like the old traditional, can I help you? So when you come in here, and Mr. Sinclair, he is a taskmaster, but there's a reason for it.
Exactly.
So back to the football thing.
So that has helped emphasize on team infrastructure.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that is whenever I have a good sense of, for one, you can pick up when somebody needs help, whether it's by body movement, tone of voice.
Yep.
And to be able to trust that brother or sister will make you a better person. And sometimes people miss the boat on trusting somebody to make essentially you better too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's teamwork.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about before we close it out.
Hold on, I do want to say one thing.
Oh, yes.
Through all of this, though, I've got to thank God. Without God, none of this would happen. So I'm sorry for the non-believers. I'm sorry if you had non-believers watching.
That's okay.
But it's also a reason why you're watching, hopefully to turn you into a believer. But that is why.
Well, that's one of my questions, and I need to back up a little bit. What's the one thing that drives you? And I know you just mentioned God. But if besides that, what would be the next thing?
Something that drives me is to have the opportunity to change future generations, family-wise, but also county-wise,
Okay.
locally. The community is really important. And
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you tell us about the one thing that I really think is cool is this big giant check? Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah,
I don't want to embarrass you.
You can show the check real fast. It's right there. I make that payment once a month to somebody that's bought a vehicle for me.
Okay, wait a minute. So someone buys a car,
And actually, you don't even have to buy a vehicle for me to be in the drawing. Okay? So, pretty much what happens is, because 2 years ago, ever since I've started, I've had such a loyal client base.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to give back. And already when you send somebody to us, you get a $100 check. But I just wanted to make it feel a little bit more personal. And so I wanted to make somebody's car payment once a month, up to $500. And so to qualify, you have to have either bought a vehicle for me. Here's the kicker. You have to add me as a friend on Facebook.
That's all you got to do?
And take a picture with me. Now, if you've never bought a car for me, that's one way. You can send somebody to me, and if they buy, you get put into the drawing and receive the $100 check. And
if you bought from me and you don't have social media,
Okay.
Or if you do and you just want all the opportunities, you can do a Google review with my first and last name
Okay.
and then screenshot it and send it to me so I'm notified, and then you'll be put into the drawing as well.
Wow. I think that's an awesome program right there. I mean, it got my attention, and I'm an old salesman, but if somebody says, hey, you might have a chance to, I'll pay your first payment, I want to get in on that deal.
Charlie, and before, I know we got to move on, but man, it's been, when I've made that payment, more times than not, it's been bigger than a payment when I've made the phone call that person has won.
Oh, wow.
It's covered for expenses that were unexpected by people during the month prior.
Yeah.
That they didn't know how they were going to pay for. It's done so much. It's made me grateful to be in this position
Yep.
to give back, and so that's just another thing I wanted to mention.
Well, this right up here, if you can see John Sinclair Nissan with Ray, there's a way, and it's got his phone number up there, 573-475-0178. And if you're thinking about buying a car, or even if you're not thinking about buying a car and you want to talk to Ray, give him a text. Because here's the thing that I always say. If you're not looking for a car, most people know somebody that's going to buy a car within the next 2 to 3 months.
And here's the other thing, Charlie, is I literally just finished a script for this as one of my follow-ups when I haven't talked to somebody in a
Okay.
while. And it's pretty much, I want to share my services and who I know. And so I was talking to you earlier about wanting to share, like, I know a lot of people. So if you need a Lamborghini, I know someone that needs a Lamborghini. If you need your concrete fixed, I know someone that does concrete. Networking. And so one of my scripts is literally just being able to let them know that they can reach out to me outside of the car business.
Yep.
And that if they have services that they are strong in, or they have close ones that have strong services, share those with me. Because I may have somebody looking for those services, or even myself, really. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
We're almost done. And I know
This has been great.
I've had a
I've
blast.
enjoyed it,
and one of the things, do you have something big coming up in August?
I do. Well, it won't be big, but we've got a little girl due in August, man.
Oh,
She's coming up. We don't have a name yet, so don't even put it in the comments.
Oh no! I was gonna say put it in the comments the name.
Oh yeah.
I like the name Charlie myself. It's a versatile name.
Charlene.
Yeah, a Charlene, Charlie with the IE or IEY. I'm sorry, EY. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
I'm getting punchy myself. But if I want to leave us on a good note, if you could I want to say it like this. If you could give Ray 5 years ago any advice that might have changed anything for you, I don't know if that's the right way to put that
Well,
question.
I know what you're asking me, though.
Okay.
If there's something I would tell myself 5 years prior.
Yes,
Yeah.
to being in this industry.
Right. There's a couple, I want to say like two things. But one is you've got to believe in whatever you're selling.
Okay.
You got to have belief, and not just in what you're selling, but in yourself. You got to know that you can do it.
Yep.
And a lot of times we cover ourselves up. And I always like to tell people that if you go meet me at 9 o'clock at the bar, I'm the same guy you meet whenever we're trying to do a deal. And so that's one thing that you don't have. People don't want the tuxedo guy that's being structural, and people really don't want that, because there's usually something missing whenever you're painting this perfect picture.
Right.
And the second thing, which kind of you want to make a friend, then make the sale. I learned that early. I was fortunate to learn that like my first year. And then I'm cheating. That's the third one. But you also, I would say, you gotta have empathy. You have to. You cannot be in this business short term, and you've got to care. If you do not care, someone else is going to care for
That's
you.
exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, with the new way of selling cars, customers have information overload.
Right there,
Okay. And I've been working with customers in my office, and I leave for a second, come back, and they're on their phone looking at other cars. We are very fortunate here that we have the ability to be empowered as salespeople to help our customers in a timely manner and have the answers to their questions without having to go ask the manager 5 or 6 times. And so for that, I'm grateful, because I feel like, and as Ray said before, I think that's the future of our business. If you want to have good relationships with your customer and no hard feelings, it sure is nice to come over and tell the customer, here's what you're getting for your trade. We have comparisons here. We have booking sheets to show you.
And man, you can hardly tell whose client is who sometimes, because we're so close knit. There's people talking to Charlie,
Yes.
talking to Ashley. We're all talking, having a good time. You don't really know. It's fascinating.
It is. It
You
is. And it's like a giant social experiment sometimes, you know. Okay, so we're going to have to do a part 2 of this interview. I just figured that out. I just came up with a brilliant idea.
And actually, before we even cut this off, though, I've got to say, he's bragging about me. Charlie helped mold all this. Charlie's an OG in this business. Remember, his name was mentioned on one of the 2 guys I met. And so he is part of the reason why we've been able to do numbers, and 20 cars at here doesn't 20 cars. I don't know. It's just freaking awesome here, and I got to thank you, Charlie.
Well,
you created something great here with us.
You're making...
You, Matt Birkenmeyer, Tracy Barnett, John Sinclair, our service department, finance department. Everybody has taken care of us to the point nobody can do. I know the tagline was how Ray sold 40 cars. No one's able to do that without a team.
Right.
And I appreciate you guys for that.
Well, we're friends, man, and I love to hang out with people that are top performers because I learn from them, and we can all learn from each other. We're going to do a part 2 to this soon, and we're going to dig deeper into how this dealership operates on the sales process. And I want everybody to see this, and I hope that you enjoyed the video or the interview. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I'm grateful for everybody to watch my TikToks, watch my YouTube. I just want to say thank you. And we're going to wrap it up. We've had a blast, and I hope you guys did too. So we'll see you next time. Driven Together is going to, I think, be some pretty big news here soon.
It will be. Just everybody, just please stay tuned. Follow Charlie Foster on every platform right now. And if Ray's not here, Charlie is. The Ray Charles Experience, Driven Together. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, buddy.
This has been awesome.
I had a blast.
Holy smokes.
How long did we go?
40.
Dude, that could have been an hour. We could have literally had a whole show on that. You have to cut me off at first because I didn't know how much of that story you wanted. I said that was on me.
It was perfect.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, because even we can even, if I get my buddy to help me edit, and he's really good because he makes movies with iPhones and stuff.
Right.
So I might try it myself, but if I can't do it, can you send that video to me that was on your phone? Does it have to be compressed or something? I don't know how that.
I think, because Ray's mom will take long videos, I think I'm going to try to send it to you through WhatsApp.
Very good. I got WhatsApp.
If not, we can download it to MP whatever.
Oh yeah, like a
drive.
flash drive.
Yeah.
I was
Man,
trying to steady my elbow.